Hello and welcome back to my channel, Light, Food, and Fun TV. This is part two of my series, Welcome to My Table. And today we will be discussing strokes. You know, there's so many people out there that do not have any idea of what a stroke is, the signs and symptoms of a stroke, and recovery. They have no idea on those things. So we will be discussing that today. Now, the information that I am giving you is for informational purposes only. I have learned this information because I am a stroke survivor. So I would like to share this information because if I could help somebody else from having a stroke by being aware of the signs and symptoms or what got them there, I want to do that. So make sure that you share this video out so we can reach as much people as we can to give awareness of strokes. Thank you. So now let's discuss what is a stroke. So there are different types of strokes and also TIAs. TIAs are mini strokes, translucid ischemic attacks. Those are smaller strokes, but there's also two other strokes to be aware of. And that's ischemic stroke. And then there is also I'm going to explain to you what's the difference between the two. Just give me 1 second here. And then there's the hemorrhagic stroke. So for the hemorrhagic stroke, it is a stroke that happens when a blood vessel ruptures in or near the brain. That's the hemorrhagic stroke. When the blood vessel erupts in or near your brain. And let's go back to ischemic strokes. Ischemic strokes are when blood vessels to the brain become narrow or drooped with fatty deposits called plaque. And that's what the ischemic stroke is. Okay, so now let's talk about risk factors. So one of the biggest risk factors is that women are more prone to have a stroke than men. Number two is Afro Americans and Hispanic people have strokes more than other cultures. So these are the risk factors. Your culture is because of how we eat and stuff like that that causes us to be a risk factor. Now, what are the underlying conditions for having a stroke? Diabetes is one. High blood pressure is another one. Underlying conditions for you to have a stroke. Also, coronary artery disease. If your heart's not doing well, it can cause you to have a stroke also. Coronary artery disease. It can cause you to have a stroke also. Physical activity can play a part in obesity. If you are not moving and you just sitting around, like you have a job maybe where you just sit all day, and then you come home and maybe you just relaxing now because you were tired from work and you start sitting again. You have to move. We have to move, especially when you get up in age. It's very important that you do some type of workout or walking or something and keep moving. That has a lot to do with it, your physical health. And being obese also has a lot to do with it, and you can have a stroke also. Yes, with being obese. So this is just me giving awareness. Once again, I'm just giving awareness to maybe help somebody else from having a stroke or having another stroke. You know, we have to follow and listen. And I am trying to do the best I can so that I do not have another stroke, because I don't want another stroke. Smoking is another risk factor of having a stroke. If you are smoking, I suggest that you quit. I was once a smoker myself, but I don't smoke anymore. But I was once a smoker myself. And it's something that we shouldn't do, even though we do it. It's something that we shouldn't do, because that is another risk factor for having strokes. High cholesterol is also another reason for having strokes. Eating all that fried food that we eat, and it's good. I'm not going to sit here and act like it wasn't good, because it was. And I wish I had a piece of fried fish right now. I'm not going to lie, it's good. But we don't eat it in moderation. We eat fried foods all the time. And we should be eating these things in moderation. If you think you must have it, it should be in moderation. You shouldn't eat a lot of it. Putting lots of butter, pounds of butter in your food. I used to do all of that. Trust me, I used to do all of it. But now I have changed my ways and eating habits, because once you have one stroke, there's always a possibility of you having another one and another one and another one. Yes, I know someone who had 5 strokes. I've known of someone who had 5 strokes. And actually, I've had 2. My first one was a TIA, that was the smaller one, the mini stroke. I didn't even realize that I had a stroke. I did have a bad headache, and that headache actually went on for months, and I kept going to the emergency room, and they kept telling me it was a migraine. But when I went to see a neurologist, he pulled my scans that I had in the emergency room, and he said, no, you had a stroke. At some point, you had a stroke. So, having bad unexplained headaches, remember to be aware. So that was my first time when I had the mini stroke. And then I had this recent one. But yeah, I was not eating right. I mean, you don't think of it as not eating right at the time, because we enjoying the food. I love food, especially good food. So yeah, you put that butter in there to make it taste better, adding all of that sugar into your sauces. Yeah, and you end up with diabetes. Adding in all these salts into your food helps give you high blood pressure. So we have to be mindful of what we're eating. And I'm not here to badger anybody on how they're eating, because I used to eat the same way, like I said. We just have to try and change some of our habits of eating and minimize the way we are eating and not do it so often, because you don't want to end up in my situation and having a stroke. I'm coming through my stroke pretty good, but you might not. So to avoid all of that to avoid all of that, then we have to start taking care of our bodies and feeding our souls much better than what we're doing. Also, coronary artery disease. If your heart's not doing well, it can cause you to have a stroke also. Coronary artery disease. It can cause you to have a stroke also. Physical activity can play a part in obesity. If you are not moving and you're just sitting around, like you have a job maybe where you just sit all day, and then you come home and maybe you just relaxing now because you were tired from work, and you start sitting again. You have to move. We have to move, especially when you get up in age. It's very important that you do some type of workout or walking or something and keep moving. That has a lot to do with it, your physical health. And being obese also has a lot to do with it, and you can have a stroke also. Yes, with being obese. So this is just me giving awareness. Once again, I'm just giving awareness to maybe help somebody else from having a stroke or having another stroke. You know, we have to follow and listen. And I am trying to do the best I can so that I do not have another stroke, because I don't want another stroke. High cholesterol is also another reason for having strokes. Okay, guys, thank you once again for meeting at my table where I share information on different things. And I will see you soon on part 3 and sharing some other information. It might not be about strokes, but it might be about eating healthier or something else. But I will meet you back at my table for part 3 to share some more information with you. Thank you. To share, welcome to my table. Come in, have a seat while I dish up some information. Welcome to my table.